What's up, everybody? ODC here, and I'm back with another action figure review. Today's review, we're going to take a look at the Star Wars Black Series Skywalker Strikes Luke Skywalker exclusive action figure. This was popping up overseas in Europe first, and now it's been popping up at GameStops. I actually purchased mine online. I think I paid around $34 for it. And this is actually a really nice set. I actually own the comic. I thought the Skywalker Strikes run was pretty well done. And overall, enjoy the cover artwork, which does mirror the comic book. And then you switch over to the side, and it says Luke Skywalker, Skywalker Strikes with the Rebel logo over there. On the back, it's got the same artwork as on the back of the trade or the comic book series. I'm pretty sure that this is the same artwork as on the back of the trade, though. And then there's a little read-up. If you want to pause that and read it, you can. Go ahead. And then moving on, if you open it up, actually on the side here, there's actually some shadowed artwork on the side of the packaging, and I believe it is on the bottom and it's on the top as well. So I don't know how well it's coming up on camera here, but there is some artwork on there. This one, I got a little bit of a bent crease right there. It's not the end of the world. Who cares? I'm going to open this sumbitch anyway. So let's open it up. You got some Velcro on the sides right here and here. Let me just make sure I'm showing everything on camera properly. And you can open it up like this, almost like a book. Or not almost like a book, but like a book. If you do open it too much, I would, and if you're a min-on card collector, this probably will start creasing over time, but it's, you know, for those of you that are not min-on card collectors, and what difference does it make? He does come with a plethora of different accessories. He comes with a lightsaber. He comes with a pistol. He comes with his training ball, a little like laser blast effect, the display stand, his helmet with the blast shield down, and he comes with also some Jedi books and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. And the figure itself is right there. And so let's not waste any more time. Let's get him out of package, and we'll be right back. Okay, and we're back with the figure out of packaging, and Luke does come with a plethora of different accessories right here, like I said earlier. Okay, taking a look at his helmet with the blast shield down. Does look really cool, his training helmet, or whatever you'd like to call it. Does look very nicely done. I like the weathering that's all over the helmet. Looks very cool with all the black shading going throughout the helmet. I like all the little symbols on the side, and the overall paint scheme. I think they did a very good job with this. The detail, the line work is very well done, and the Rebel logos on each side of the helmet. I think they're a little off-center. That just actually could be an optical illusion due to some of this little bit of paint shading right here, but it does look like they're a little bit off-center if you look at it straight on. Not the end of the world. I'm just something I'm pointing out as far as that's concerned. But overall, it looks really cool, and it does fit on his head without any issues. So if you want to just pop it on his head, just kind of put it over his head. It is a little bit of a tighter, a little bit of a tighter fit, and as you can see, the nose is kind of pushing on the blast shield, so that kind of has me worried a little bit as far as paint rubbage, but it can fit on the head, and it is quite the tight fit, as you can see me trying to pop that off his head. Maybe it might start rubbing on that nose a bit. Maybe also might want to use a little bit of hot water or a hair dryer on that, just so you don't have the nose pressing on that as well. But it is quite a tight fit, just to point that out for you all. Right here, in this type of like archive, where you can see the book at the bottom right there. It's actually in a case, and that's the case that he comes with as well, and there's some of the other stuff. I better not show too much of that, or so I'll get a copyright strike for something from Marvel or some silliness. But there is the book itself. It's a nice brown with a little bit of black paint shading going throughout, and there is some of the language text on there. On the back, it's just a plain brown. There's some paint shading for the pages. And then you also have your case, which is right here. Here is the case that it comes in. You've got some gray plastic with some black paint shading going throughout, and you have this text on the front. And it does open up like a briefcase, and it has a little clip right here. You just push that clip back, and then it opens up. You take the book, and you center it or put it in there, and then close it, and it fits in just like so. So just that simple to put that in there. It's a nice little touch that they didn't necessarily have to do. They could have just given you the book and called it a day, but it's nice that they gave us this little case. The next is this little display effect, and this actually goes on to Luke Skywalker's lightsaber, and it just kind of clips on. You can put it wherever you want, slide it up and down, anywhere you want, and then simply kind of gives the illusion that he is training. Obviously, this is not a very good pose, but I'm also doing this kind of last minute. I should also have him with two hands on the lightsaber, but you pretty much get the drift. This thing's moving around, and it's shooting at him, swiveling and shooting, swiveling and shooting. This thing can also pivot on its own, so if you want to kind of have it tilted, it can pivot, and it just simply, it does come in two pieces in the package. And all you do is just peg that into, or put the ball joint into this peg hole right there, and it clips right into place. So it's nice that this can swivel. If you move it over too much, it will kind of throw it a little bit off balance. So, but it's nice that this can swivel and move around, and rotate and such. The top, I don't believe that this can rotate. I think this is pretty much stationary on there. Let me see if I can remove that. No, you can't really remove it. So it is stationary on this. It's pretty much just one piece. There's the second piece. So it's a nice little touch with the accessories as far as the little blast effect and the training ball. So very nicely done. Taking a look at Luke/Anakin's lightsaber here, we have some nice black paint shading going throughout the bottom portion of the lightsaber, and then in his hand we got some little bit of some gold on there, and then silver for the rest of the lightsaber. The blue lightsaber blade is a nice solid blue. It's not as chintzy as some of the older Anakin/Luke Skywalker blades, where they were kind of pointed. This is a little bit more thick and rounded, so that's pretty nice. Yeah, looks good to say the least. You can remove the blade from the lightsaber. It's pretty simple. We've seen it before. I'm sure you'll see it again in other lightsabers as well. Moving on, let me get his arms up and out of the way. Moving on to the blaster, it just kind of pegs right into the side. Just push this peg in, and then it's all clipped into his side, like so. And this is his blaster that he used for a very short period of time. I want to say between the end of episode 4 and he didn't have it by episode 5 anymore. He went back to the DL-44, I believe. Same thing as Han used, or something similar. But there it is, as far as his blaster goes. And like I said, we see this at the end of the ceremony of episode 4, him having this. And they actually don't show him at the end of the ceremony with his lightsaber. So actually the one that is coming out that's not Skywalker Strikes, which is based on the Marvel run, is actually screen accurate, because he does not come with, they don't show him in the movie with his lightsaber on his belt or anything. So they only show him with this pistol. But looks really cool. It's just a black plastic with some silver paint on the top of the gun and at the muzzle of the gun. So blaster, I should say. So there you go with that. Looks pretty cool. The figure itself, I think, looks really nice. This is a really nice Luke Skywalker head sculpt, I think. And the real scan technology looks very nicely done as far as that's concerned. Yeah, it does look like Luke. Very much so. Much improved from the original Blue Line Jedi, Return of the Jedi Luke. So that's a plus. But the coat looks good. I mean, this is one version of Luke that I think a lot of collectors, including myself, have been really clamoring for. His in-between look between episode 4 and 5. And I really do like it quite a bit. He's kind of got those kind of Han Solo pants with the Han Solo boots, and then he's got his own like leather jacket, and then he's kind of almost has a very similar a shirt to Han Solo as well. It's just black, and then he's got brown pants, where Han Solo had white with blue pants and I believe it's a white stripe or a yellow stripe, one of the two. But very similar indeed. He does not come with a medal because that's not this version of this Luke. So the single carded release, the actual true to screen, this is true to comic. I believe it's probably the same figure. I would just assume that it's coming with the same pistol. It just doesn't come with the other accessories, and it does come with the medal that he's given from the rebellion for blowing up the Death Star. But it looks very nice. I like the jacket overall. It is very 70s looking, very 70s, late 70s, early 80s of sci-fi, futuristic looking jackets. I think it looks pretty cool. I would actually wear this jacket. Looks pretty sweet. But I like the tone that they used for this is just like a yellowish plastic. It's kind of like it's not really a mustard. It's definitely a lighter yellow that they went with here. So, but it looks pretty good. And then you have some like tan line work right here, and then he's got his like little, I think these are like medals or something, like rebellion medals. So, pretty awesome. Like it. Moving down to the belt, just open this up so you can see what the belt looks like. It's just silver plastic for the belt buckle, and then we've got some brown for the rest of the molding for his holster and his the rest of his belt. Here's the back of the belt and what that looks like. There you are. And then the pants are just a brown plastic with some yellow trim work right here, and then we've got some glossy boots, which look pretty cool. And they do have their own sculpt work. Like, this is an all-new sculpt here. And that's usually what the Black Series is pretty good at. They very rarely reuse parts, even with the Jedis, which I would assume that they would... going into this line, I would have been like, oh, they're going to reuse a whole bunch of like the Obi-Wan Kenobi bodies, but they don't. Even with the Jedi, each Jedi gets their own new body, which is pretty awesome. So there's that. As far as Luke's articulation does go, his head can swivel at a full 360 rotation if you need it to. His head can look up about that far due to the sculpting of the hair hitting the coat. His head can look down. His head can pivot side to side. Let's see if we got some Jav turkeys up in here. We got some turkeys. Arms go up. Arms go down. Full 360 rotation in the arm. Single bend at the elbow. He's got a swivel at the elbow. Elbow? Elbow? I don't know who elbow is, but I know what an elbow is. Swivel at the wrist. He does have a hinge joint at the wrist as well. And he does have a different hinge joint in this one. It's kind of that pistol hinge joint where it goes up and down. Not the best range of motion there, but it's due to the coat hitting the side. Same thing with this hinge joint as well. It's not the best range of motion, but it'll get the job done. He does have a diaphragm joint, which does swivel. It does crunch back. It does crunch forward. It can pivot side to side, and it can swivel. He can do the splits more so on this leg than that leg due to the sculpting of the belt and the holster connecting. So there's that, but you can get his leg to go out. I don't know, his leg joint looks really weird over here. Kind of very odd. I think I got some sort of quality control issue here with his leg going up. It's not as smoothly going up. It's kind of like a weird, almost like a ratchet. So we'll try this leg and see if it's going. And it's kind of wanting to kick outward, which is rather odd because if you see his crotch piece here, it's kind of actually sculpted on an angle. And then you can see this ball joint kind of sticking out a little bit. Just maybe it's on mine, but it is rather odd for the Black Series. The legs can't really go back too far due to the sculpting of the rear end. He does have an upper thigh swivel. He does have a double jointed knee, which gets a really good range of motion. And then he does have no boot swivel or anything like that, but he can point the toe, he can point the heel, He does have ankle pivot, and he does have 2 peg holes. One last little point I wanted to make on the head sculpt. I think the head sculpt looks pretty good. The hair does look like it's a little bit farther back as far as his hairline goes, but I don't really think that's the end of the world. I still like the head sculpt very much so. The eyes are centered. I don't really have too much to complain about with the paint and the head. I think the hair looks nice and blondie. Looks very blondie with some black paint shading going throughout. And it's not overdone. It doesn't look like he rolled his head in mud or anything like that. And it does look a little bit, if it does look like there's quite a bit of paint shading and it is more well defined, I think that's due to my lighting right now. I do have quite a bit of bright lighting, but once you have him in hand, you won't notice the black paint shading as much. It's a little bit more toned down, so if that does bother you, it is a little bit more toned down in hand, just to point that out. So there you are. And one last thing, because I forgot and I was not paying attention, so I apologize, but one last thing I wanted to add is that he does have that neck joint, which does move forward. Very similar to the Lando Calrissian figure from Solo, A Star Wars Story, but the neck can move as well. So you get a little bit extra range of motion with his head looking down as well. Okay, so overall, my overall thoughts on the Star Wars Black Series exclusive Skywalker Strikes Luke Skywalker figure. I want to say that I like all the stuff that he comes with, and I think this figure is pretty much a home run overall. I like the packaging that he does come with. I kind of wish that you could put him back in packaging if you wanted to. He's kind of tied in with those clear bands that you have to kind of snip off. So once you take him out of package, it's kind of like you just leave the packaging or throw the packaging out. You can't really put him back in unless you keep those clear straps. So I kind of wish that they would have went a different route with that. Maybe just had him in a blister package and just kind of, you could slide the blister in and out. That would have made a little bit more sense for me as far as resealable product. But other than that, I think the packaging is done well. I think the cover art is pretty accurate to what the cover art looked like. The artwork on the back is actually different, and I know I said that in the beginning. It's actually different from the trade, which I showed earlier in the review, just to point that out, so to correct myself. But the accessories, I think, are top-notch. I like the training ball with the stand that it comes with, so you can maneuver that and articulate it any way you want. I like his blaster that he comes with, and that is accurate to what he was using at that time. I like the lightsaber and kind of the rounded blade that he does come with. This newer blade, it's not as pointy, so I do like that quite a bit. I also like the training helmet that he's come with the blast shield down. That's nice. I also like the blast effect that can just clip right onto the lightsaber. So you could pretty much use that blast effect with anybody else's lightsaber as well, and it'll work. Also, the Jedi textbook that he comes with, and the case that it comes with. That's also a very nice touch. So overall, I would definitely give him a 2 thumbs up. There's the other thumb. And say, go pick him up. I spent $34 on him, and I think you know, it might be more around the $25, $27 range if I could pick a number. But I'm still not upset about spending the little bit of extra money to get him online, and also with shipping included. That's not actually that bad of a deal. So I'm not really brokenhearted about it. I'm just saying if I were to sell this in retail, I'd probably say around maybe the $25 range is a little bit more accurate. But you do also, I mean, you're paying for the packaging and you're paying for the accessories is really what you're paying for. If you don't want to pay for that, then I would say, and you don't care about these Skywalker Strikes or you don't like the Marvel run, then I would say just hold out and wait for the ceremony Luke that's coming out single-carded in the regular Black Series line. You don't necessarily have to get this one. I think this is a home run, and I'm going to be happy to own both because Luke is my favorite character in the Star Wars brand. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, go get them if you see them out there in store. I know he's going for a little bit more online. I think Big Bad Toy Store has him for a little bit more also, so maybe just wait it out. But if you're a big Luke Skywalker fan, I totally get why you would want to pick this up. And this has been a long-awaited attire for him, or look for Luke. I think the head sculpt looks fantastic. I think the paint apps on him are top-notch. I don't really have any issues with any of the paint apps. I think the hairline, like I said, is a little bit higher up, but it's not. I don't really think it's the end of the world. That's just kind of my nitpick that I could point out. But yeah, go pick them up if you want to. Also, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you for watching as always, and I'll see you guys on the flip side.